This page features the cover of Nintendo Power Magazine, highlighting Tonic Trouble with 10 pages of coverage. There is an exclusive preview of Command and Conquer. Also mentioned are Vigilante 8, California Speed, and Rampage 2, Universal Tour for the N64. The cover urges readers to cast their votes for the Power Awards. The next page is an advertisement from The Source for Pokemon, giving tips on how to evolve Pikachu into Raichu using the Thunderstone, a screenshot of the Pokemon Yellow game showing this. It also promotes a subscription to Nintendo Power Magazine for $19.95 a year, which is claimed to save you $39.54 off the newsstand cover price, and includes a free player's guide or soundtrack CD with your choice of games. The advert features Pokemon such as Pikachu, Raichu, Mewtwo, Charmander, Musk, Jigglypuff, Blastoise, Gengar, and others, alongside a cover image of Nintendo Power featuring Mario Party. The cover highlights Mario Party and strategies for Game Boy. This page is a Mario Party advertisement for Nintendo 64. It features the tagline, "Eat, Drink, and Be Mario," promoting an all-night bash with characters battling it out on adventure boards. It shows gameplay screenshots and encourages players to get in or get out. The next page is the table of contents for Volume 118, March 1999. The issue includes strategy guides for Tonic Trouble, Vigilante 8, Castlevania Part 3, Duke Nukem, 0 Hour, Chameleon Twist 2, California Speed, NHL Blades of Steel 99, Rampage 2, Universal Tour, NBA 1-on-1, Logical, and Power Quest. Special features include an exclusive preview of Command and Conquer, highlights of the Nintendo Power Awards nominees, and a feature on Pokemon Hits the Deck. Every issue sections include Player's Pulse, Classified Information, Counselor's Corner, Arena, Now Playing, Pack Watch, and the Game List. The page also features screenshots from Tonic Trouble, a preview of Vigilante 8, and Command and Conquer, with colorful character art from Tonic Trouble, adding to the visual appeal. This page includes Player's Pulse, showcasing fan letters and feedback. Joe Dusenberry expresses excitement about Nintendo's inclusion in the Guinness Book of Records for the smallest cameras. Jake Campbell shares a humorous anecdote about a possessed Game Boy printer. Aaron Matthews acknowledges Iguana Entertainment for their contribution to the Players Poll contest for Volume 95. There's also artwork from fans. Readers share experiences with The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, including Justin McCardle, Clint Rutledge, and Tyson Wills. Other content includes clock watchers, and a mention of Harvest Moon GB having an internal clock. A letter by Christopher Festa gives tips on auto racing games. Nathan Hagworth points out a mistake on the Rogue Squadron cover of Volume 115. The next page presents the power charts, highlighting the top-performing games on Nintendo 64 and Game Boy. On the Nintendo 64, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and GoldenEye 007 hold strong, with Star Wars, Rogue Squadron making a notable climb. The Game Boy charts are led by Pokemon, followed by The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, and James Bond 007. There's fan mail about the N64's capabilities, personal favorite games, and artwork, as well as categories for the Nintendo Power Awards. The page also features a phone directory for Nintendo Power subscriptions and game counseling. This page delves into Tonic Trouble, showcasing the game's quirky premise, where an alien janitor's tonic spills onto Earth, creating vegetable villains and a Viking threat. It highlights the gameplay as a mix of action, adventure, and puzzles. The page describes key in-game items like bonus spheres and thermometers, crucial for unlocking secrets and maintaining health. It also details essential janitorial supplies and character upgrades, such as the pea shooter, swimming flask, bow tie, chameleon belt, and pogo stick, each requiring specific collectibles. The Strange Ed Fellows section touches on the game's character AI and the diverse reactions players can expect. The page also shows the ability to transform into a Super Ed by finding and using popcorn machines scattered throughout the land. The next page continues with Tonic Trouble, showing a map of the game world titled Ed Has Landed, with locations like the North Plain, Vegetable Headquarters, and the Doctor's Cave. Ed's objectives are listed, including tasks such as sliding down the ski slope, freeing the Doctor, and collecting various items from different locations. A guide for the Doctor's Cave is shown, with numbered steps for navigating the lava-filled cavern and rescuing the doctor to get the Super Ed transformation using a popcorn machine. Tips for minigames are provided, like Ed hanging by a thread and the infected ear. This page details the areas, the South Plane and the North Plane, from Tonic Trouble. It explains that after defeating the robot suitcase, Ed will free the doctor, who will lead him back to the South Plane to help on his mission. It details locations and objectives, such as reaching Groff and finding the parts awaiting in the Vegetable HQ. Also mentioning hidden passages and restricted areas. The North Plane section introduces the challenge of delivering 6 springs to the dock, which will earn Ed a pea shooter. And it highlights mini-games like Abandoned Ship, Walking on Coals, and Stay on Target. Furthermore, it provides tips for levels like Refried Bean, the pluses and minuses, Carrot Cookout, Ed and his flying machine, Aim High, and Nothing Shocking. The next page provides a walkthrough for the Canyon and Cocktail Glacier levels in Tonic Trouble. It describes the routes and objectives, such as flying through the canyon using updrafts, electric fans and avoiding enemies, and navigating the icy platforms in Cocktail Glacier. There are also minigame tips for the Cocktail Glacier, like Swan Lake, batting practice, and citrus sprockets. This page is a walkthrough for 2 levels in the game Tonic Trouble: the Pyramid and the Pressure Cooker. The Pyramid level requires solving puzzles and rearranging rooms to reach the exit, and the Pressure Cooker level involves navigating through an oven environment and using the Chameleon belt. It gives tips on overcoming obstacles, such as moving boxes with a magnet, weighing down switches, and escaping the flooding oil. The page includes maps of both levels, with numbered locations corresponding to the walkthrough steps. The next page presents an advertisement for the Game Boy Color game Hexite. It uses a humorous, bodybuilding theme, challenging players to get in shape and muscle up their mind with the strategy game. The advert also promotes a contest where participants can win prizes like an Apple iMac, a Game Boy Color, and copies of Hexite. The page includes a shape-matching puzzle as part of the contest entry form. This page is a spotlight on Command & Conquer for the Nintendo 64. It discusses the history of the Command & Conquer series, highlighting its impact on the real-time strategy genre. It emphasizes the importance of resource management and base building, and mentions that the game features 2 factions, the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, and the Brotherhood of Nod. It also highlights the fog of war mechanic and the need to adapt strategies based on available resources. The page includes screenshots of the game in action. The next page focuses on the Nintendo 64 version of Command & Conquer. It highlights the fast-paced, real-time strategy gameplay. The N64 controller is touted as an ideal tool for issuing commands. Players can select units and manage their armies. The page also details the importance of managing resources and building new units. It also mentions the updated graphics in the expansion pack high-res mode and excellent sound effects for the N64 version. The page also gives information on the combat units like the light tank, Nod buggy, Orca aircraft, and SAM site, as well as the structures such as the weapons factory, refineries, and the construction yard. The page includes screenshots and gameplay. This page presents a collection of cheat codes and tips for various Nintendo 64 games. It features codes for Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, which includes unlocking the Millennium Falcon and a TIE Interceptor, and also includes special features like altered character appearances. Iggy's Wreckin' Balls is highlighted with a code to shrink the racers. A guide for using the level skip cheat in Men in Black. The series is provided with area access codes, and a selection of cheat codes for NFL Quarterback Club 99 is included, with effects like overinflated balls, slippery fields, and skinny players. There's a cover-up related to the January issue of Nintendo Power, prompting readers to search for hidden code words. The page shows screenshots and game logos. The next page continues with cheat codes and secrets for 64 games. Top Gear Overdrive is featured with instructions on how to unlock hidden cars by inputting specific sequences in the main menu. NHL 99 includes cheat codes to adjust the speed of gameplay and remove goalies. South Park contains codes to unlock all characters and access all levels. Extreme Egg XG2 lists several codes that modify gameplay, such as plane mode, blurry graphics, and unlimited weapons. Glover is highlighted with a level select cheat activated by inputting a series of button commands. The page also includes Nintendo Power's classified information address. This page introduces Vigilante 8 for the Nintendo 64. It presents the game as a wild discoupra of car combat, set in an alternate Southwest. The premise revolves around vigilantes fighting against the coyotes to prevent them from ruining the U.S. Financially, the page highlights several characters: Chassis Blue, Slick Clyde, John Torque, and Sheila, along with their vehicle stats and special weapons. Additional characters Dave and Convoy are mentioned as unlockable after completing the 4 vigilante quests. The text boasts stunning graphics and 70s-flavored auto-Armageddon gameplay. The next page focuses on the Coyotes from Vigilante 8. It details their mission to destroy America's oil resources for a $100 million bounty. The page introduces several Coyote characters: Loki, a former military test pilot; Houston 3, a half-human, half-machine mercenary; Beeswax, who uses mutated bees as weapons; and Boogie, a disco superstar. Classified characters like Molo and Sidburn are also mentioned, available after finishing the initial Coyote quests. Additionally, the page describes the game's quest mode, where players can experience each character's story. It also outlines missions in 2 locations: Casino City, where players must protect or destroy gas stations; the Galaxy Hub Hotel, and the Wedding Chapel; and Ski Lodge, where the objectives include protecting or destroying the lift stations, ski lodge, and condominiums. The next page provides a guide to completing missions in Vigilante 8 across 4 locations: Canyonlands, Aircraft Graveyard, Hoover Dam, and Ghost Town. For Canyonlands, it details objectives like protecting or destroying Anasazi Ruins, the Zuni Vista Hotel, and a gas station, warning players about coyote bosses Molo and Sheila. In the Aircraft Graveyard, missions involve hangars, helicopters, and radio towers, with advice to watch out for planes and collect power-ups. Hoover Dam features objectives related to the power station, visitor center, and transformers, with John Torque and Boogie as bosses. Ghost Town missions focus on the Indian Village, bank, and train station, with bosses Dave and Loki. The page offers tactical tips, such as using the environment to one's advantage and locating power-ups. This page covers the final 2 levels for the single-player mission of Vigilante 8's Oil Fields and Valley Farms, then moves on to cover the 2-level Sand Factory and Secret Base that become available when you select Stay the Alien. Finally, the page describes the Super Dreamland 64 level, a secret level unlocked by completing Huey's quest. The Oil Fields level missions involve protecting or destroying oil-related structures, with a focus on the Coyote Boss's Convoy or Sidburn. Valley Farms objectives involve protecting or destroying silos, barns, and windmills, and defeating bosses Chassis and Beeswax. The Sand Factory level is full of power-ups and features ramps, while Secret Base has scarce power-ups. The Alien section explains that after intercepting an alien message, Once learns that aliens crashed and were dissected, leading him to teach humans about hospitality. The next page highlights the multiplayer modes of Vigilante 8, with 2-player versus, cooperative, and quest modes described with screenshots and mode-specific information. Versus is a duel in the Southwest, cooperative is against rogue coyotes, and quest involves joining either a vigilante or coyote quest. The 34-player modes include Brawl, Team, and Smear, with Brawl being a free-for-all, Team allowing team combat, and Smear involving 3 players against 1. The Snowboard Kids 2-game box is also displayed. This page features Castlevania for the Nintendo 64, focusing on the final stages with Carrie and Reinhardt. It offers tips for progressing through the castle center, highlighting puzzles and boss fights. Screenshots showcase enemies like motorcycle skeletons and vampires, along with strategy advice. A map and legend detail item locations in key areas, such as the Bull Boss Chamber and Lizardman encounter. Information on enemies like the Weeping Angel statue and Glass Knights are also on the page. The next page continues the Castlevania guide, this time focusing on the Tower of Science level with Carrie. It provides a walkthrough, including tips for navigating shocking devices and lasers, leaps of faith, and an invisible bridge. There's also advice for battles before the elevator, and a strategy for defeating the Magic Crystal Demon Bull. The page includes a map showing key locations and items within the Tower of Science level. This page continues the Castlevania guide, now covering the Tower of Sorcery and Dual Tower levels. For the Tower of Sorcery, the guide details difficult jumps and crystal platforms, offering tips for dealing with ice people, vanishing platforms, green ice enemies, and a rising yellow platform. It also shows a map of the tower. The Dual Tower section provides strategies for facing bosses like the Werewolf, Minotaur, Lizard, and Rockman, and how to navigate rotating blades and sinking platforms. This page focuses on the Tower of Execution from Castlevania. The guide highlights the dangers within, such as swinging blades, sliding platforms, pop-up spikes, and the importance of obtaining the execution key. It provides a map of the tower and tips for navigating the traps, like judging the shadows for the swinging blades and timing jumps on the sliding platforms. Additionally, the page features an advertisement for WCW Nitro, showcasing wrestling superstars like Hulk Hogan and Goldberg, along with screenshots of the game. The next page is a preview of Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the Nintendo 64. The page describes the game's plot, where Duke has to save Earth from aliens who are trying to dominate it by piecing together a time machine. There is a section on the improved third-person perspective and 3D polygonal models, contrasting them with the 2D sprites of past games. There are also details on the expanded graphics, which feature enhanced resolution and lighting effects. The game also includes multiple objectives, where Duke has to rescue babes and collect important items. The reviewer describes the action as non-stop and the humor as edgy, praising the game as the best action title since GoldenEye 007. The page mentions diverse weapons and multiplayer mode. The next page previews Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the Nintendo 64. It highlights the unchanged elements gamers love, as well as new features like customizable multiplayer arenas. It describes the core Duke attitude, focusing on the character's timing and delivery of lines. The page also details gameplay aspects like finding secret areas and rescuing captive women, and the ability to carry many weapons and items. The game features several multiplayer modes, such as Duke Match, Last Man Standing, and King of the Hill, with unique arenas like Cool as Ice, Sliders, Red Sector, and Hive 8. The page concludes with a quote about the game's Duke Match, the addition of bear traps, and a time-warping weapon and skins. This page dives into the arsenal of Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the Nintendo 64, expanding on the details mentioned on the previous page. It highlights a wide array of weapons available in both single-player and multiplayer modes, from the standard M80 blaster to more specialized gear like the Gamma Cannon and Freeze Thrower. The page details the function and use of each weapon within the game, like the Peacekeeper .45 and the sawed-off shotgun for close encounters, and the .50 sniper rifle for long distance. The content explores other weapons like pipe bombs, dynamite, trip bombs, and the Gatling gun. It also explains Double Trouble, which doubles your firepower by picking up a second weapon, ammo upgrades, and aiming options. There's also a section on which weapon utilizes which view type and historical reality, which shows different weapon types in the Wild West and Victorian era. The next page details the Nukem gear available in Duke Nukem 0 Hour on the Nintendo 64. Helpful items scattered throughout the game include the med kit to heal, night vision goggles for better visibility, and Vitamin X for increased speed. Armor protects from damage, while other items have a single use. Atomic Health boosts health beyond the maximum. A gas mask protects against toxic gas. Protective boots guard against radioactive slime. And scuba gear enables underwater exploration. The page also features strategies under Cool Hand Duke on general gameplay. It covers strafing for success, aiming for headshots, trash talking to confirm enemy defeat, and shooting wisely by choosing the right weapon for the situation. It also touches on conserving ammo by using fists, the advantages of healthcare, the use of a reload reminder, and checking every part of the map to make sure you don't miss anything. The page also mentions how the items are altered to match the Wild West and Victorian era. This page focuses on Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the Nintendo 64, detailing different areas and enemies Duke will encounter. It's split into 3 sections: present and future, Victorian England, and the Wild West. In the present and future segment, the text describes Duke's journey through the game's modern-day setting, followed by a nuclear winter. It highlights locations like Mean Streets, Liberty or Death, Nuclear Winter, Fallout, Under Siege, and Tank Hog. Victorian England features locales inspired by Jack the Ripper's Whitechapel. The sections are the Whitechapel Killings and Plug 'em and Plant 'em bullets. The Wild West moves into the Old West, showing Duke encountering lizards and other enemies in Dry Town. The page includes screenshots from the levels and Duke quips. This page features the game Duke Nukem 0 Hour, with additional zones like the Rack and Brain in a Vat described, as well as time zone mix-up and Alien Mother and Zero Hour. The page claims, only professionals should attempt to board and destroy alien spaceships. Eurocom states, the game should be available by mid-April. The other side of the page has an advert for Konami's In the Zone 99, featuring Glenn Rice. It shows some game screenshots and highlights motion capture graphics. The next page gives a spotlight to Chameleon Twist 2, featuring the tagline, "The Karmic Chameleons are back for another tongue lashing." The page details the game's premise, involving collecting coins, carrots, and earning costume changes, and highlights the training rooms designed to improve licking skills. The first stage, Skyland, is showcased, as well as hidden item locations. The Mushroom Macarena is also described. This page continues the look at Chameleon Twist 2, focusing on Stages 2, Carnival Land, and Stage 3, Iceland. Carnival Land involves navigating circus obstacles and using enemies, like 2D rabbits, as makeshift bridges. Hidden items are placed around awnings and castle walls. In Iceland, players must lick snowball kids and use igloos for shelter. The page also touches on the game's plot twists and spotlights 3 additional stages: Great Edo Land, Toyland, and Pyramid Land. The next page is an advertisement for California Speed on Nintendo 64. It showcases the game's arcade-style racing through California locations. The page details the 5 racing series: Light, State, Sport, Heavy, and California Cup. It features screenshots of various vehicles, from golf carts to sports cars, racing on diverse tracks, including San Francisco streets and off-road courses. The ad emphasizes the game's unique courses and vehicle variety. This page is a continuation of the California Speed advertisement. It showcases the various vehicle types available in the game, dividing them into light, sport, and heavy categories, with descriptions of each vehicle's handling and characteristics with images. The page also provides screenshots of the courses in locations like Monterey, Highway 1, Silicon Valley, and San Francisco. Each location has a short description, with tips on how to navigate the tracks. This page features more tips and screenshots for California Speed locations, including Central Valley, San Diego, Mt. Shasta, Mojave Desert, Santa Cruz, Los Angeles, and Yosemite. The tips guide players on how to take shortcuts and navigate tricky turns on each course to get ahead of the competition. This page is a preview of NHL Blades of Steel 99 for the Nintendo 64. It highlights the game's features, including cool modes, quick play, exhibition matches, and season and playoff options. It mentions that the game boasts accurate commentary and realistic skating physics, and has 23 in-game options. The page showcases screenshots of gameplay and the various menu options available. The next page is an in-depth look at NHL Blades of Steel 99 for the Nintendo 64. It details offensive and defensive strategies, broken down into even and power plays. It covers tactics like controlling your players, passing the puck, line changes, goalie management, and face-off strategies. The page also touches upon player ratings in categories such as skate, shot, stick, spirit, fight, and stamina, suggesting how to edit your lines and pick the best players. Trading up players and the concept of free agents are also mentioned. This page offers a team-by-team analysis for NHL Blades of Steel 99 on the Nintendo 64, rating teams from best to worst within each conference, in categories like skate, shot, stick, spirit, fight, and stamina. It's a guide for players to consider team strengths when choosing their gameplay style. The page lists all the teams in the game, organized by Eastern and Western Conference, with small graphical representations of their logo and the stat ratings in the categories listed. The teams are the New Jersey Devils, Boston Bruins, New York Islanders, Dallas Stars, Phoenix Coyotes, and Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, to name a few. There is also a summary of the World All-Stars and North American All-Stars. This page is an advertisement for Rampage 2, Universal Tour for the Nintendo 64. It highlights the game's simple premise of destroying cities, now with a universe-wide scope, and introduces new playable monsters alongside the classic ones. The page includes screenshots of gameplay and profiles of monsters like Ralph, George, Lizzie, Curtis, Boris, Ruby, and Mayukas, briefly detailing their strengths and weaknesses. The next page showcases more about the game Rampage 2, Universal Tour on the Nintendo 64. It details various in-game items and their point values or effects, like the credit card, boxing glove, and jumbo jet. 3 monsters destroy locations in America, Europe, and Asia. There is an urban checklist of cities and areas to destroy within the game in America, Europe, and Japan, and accompanying screenshots to show the destruction. The next page features the game Rampage 2, Universal Tour, and Magical Tetris Challenge. It details the International Playboys Tour, showcasing locations like Sydney, Mexico City, Vancouver, and Area 51, with screenshots and descriptions of each. There's also an intergalactic planetary tour and urban checklist, including destinations like the Moon, Mars, and Jupiter. The page transitions to Magical Tetris Challenge, featuring Disney characters like Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy, with descriptions of the gameplay and features. This page gives you the scoop on 2 dueling b-ballers, NBA in the Zone and NBA Jam 99 for Game Boy Color. It describes how NBA in the Zone emphasizes realism, setting it apart from the arcade-ish feel of the NBA Jam series. The review highlights the better graphics, accurate human movement, and bright, crisp colors. NBA Jam 99 is described as returning to its flashy coin-op roots with jazzy power-ups and blazing hoop antics, and how its pixelated hoopsters are generic in appearance and lack the animation of Zone's players. The page also covers how the game is played, including 5-on-5 simulation in the Zone and 2-2 arcade style in NBA Jam 99. The next page showcases various modes and options available in both NBA in the Zone and NBA Jam 99 for the Game Boy Color. In the Zone features Exhibition, Season, Playoffs, and a Versus/Game Link mode. It includes options for game and rule configuration, home advantage, and dunk demos. NBA Jam 99 contains similar modes like head-to-head, season, and playoffs, and focuses on hotspots, power-ups, juice mode, and drone skill/CPU strategies. This page features an advert for Konami's XXL Sports series, highlighting NHL Blades of Steel 99 and featuring Jaromir Jagr of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The advert includes taglines about the pressure of being a team captain and the challenges of hockey. In addition, it showcases game screenshots and the game's availability on various platforms like PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Game Boy Color. The page also features a matchup list and information about NBA Jam 99 from last year's top 5 teams from each conference, showcasing the players who increase a team's victory potential. This page is a Nintendo Power Awards nomination page for 1998. It begins by acknowledging the passage into 1999, while still recognizing the best of 98. Readers are encouraged to vote for their favorite games. The nominees feature characters like Ganondorf, Link, and Navi from The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, along with characters from other games. The page includes categories such as Best Release of 1998, Best Story, and Best Graphics. The Best Story category lists nominees including Banjo-Kazooie, Body Harvest, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Mission Impossible, Pokémon, Quest 64, Space Station Silicon Valley, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, and Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. The Best Graphics category lists nominations for Banjo-Kazooie, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Madden, NFL 99, NFL Quarterback Club 99, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, 1080° Snowboarding, Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, WWF Warzone, and Yoshi's Story. The page also includes screenshots from nominated games, such as Rush 2, F1 World Grand Prix, Fighter's Destiny, Forsaken 64, Body Harvest, Game & Watch Gallery 2, Star Soldier, GT64, Championship Edition, Iggy's Wreckin' Balls, and Biofreaks. This page presents the 1998 Nintendo Power Awards nominations, categorized by various criteria such as Most Innovative, Best Music, Best Sound, Best Gameplay Variety, Best Action Game, and Sleeper Hit of the Year. Nominees include games like Banjo-Kazooie, Body Harvest, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, and Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, across multiple categories. Other titles like Pokémon, Zero X, Mission Impossible, and Space Station Silicon Valley are also featured. Screenshots of games such as International Superstar Soccer 98, NBA in the Zone 98, Mortal Kombat 4, Pocket Bomberman, and Nagano Winter Olympics are scattered along the bottom of the page. The page aims to highlight and celebrate the standout games of 1998. The next page displays the 1998 Nintendo Power Awards nominations in categories such as Best Racing, Sports, Multiplayer, Cinema Scenes, Adventure, and Funniest Game. Games nominated include Cruisin' World, FIFA 99, Buck Bumble, Banjo-Kazooie, and South Park. The page humorously comments on cutscenes and the humor found in games. Screenshots include titles like Zero X, FIFA Soccer 99, WWF Warzone, and Turok: Two Seeds of Evil. This page features the 1998 Nintendo Power Awards nominations across various categories. The page highlights Best Accessory/Development nominees, including the ASC Two-Wheel 64, Game Boy Camera, and Pokémon Pikachu. The Best Game Boy Game category includes titles like Castlevania Legends, Harvest Moon GB, and The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening DX. Additionally, the Best N64 Game category lists Banjo-Kazooie, Body Harvest, and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time among the nominees. The page also advertises a contest where readers can vote for their favorites to win prizes, like N64 System, Game Boy Color, and Nintendo Power T-shirts. Screenshots include International Superstar Soccer, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, Harvest Moon GB, and World Cup 98. This page delves into the puzzle game Logical for Game Boy Color. It explains the game's mechanics, which involve sifting colored marbles through rotating gears to blow up all gears on each level before time runs out. The page includes descriptions of early levels and tips on how to approach them, such as concentrating on filling top gears first. The article also mentions directional arrows that act as one-way roads for the marbles, adding a layer of complexity. The next page showcases strategies for various levels of Logical on Game Boy Color, offering visual guides and tips for levels 6, 7, 12, 13, and 14. The strategies involve navigating color stoppers, traffic lights, teleporters, and directional arrows. The article also includes a password hint. Truman will take players to the second level, encouraging them to solve the rest of the game on their own. Lastly, it explains how to use passwords to skip to completed levels on the title screen. This page presents a counselor's corner with tips and strategies for 2 Nintendo 64 games: Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, and Turok 2: Seeds of Evil. For Rogue Squadron, it details where to find Seeker proton torpedoes in the volcanic Sullust base, and offers advice on winning dogfights against TIE fighters. For Turok 2, it explains how to defeat the Cavern Eyeball boss, find the nuke piece in level 3, and locate the Blue Eagle Feather in the Death Marshes, with visual aids for each strategy. The next page offers tips and strategies for Star Fox 64 and Quest for Camelot on the Game Boy Color. For Star Fox 64, there's a guide on earning the medal on Macbeth, defeating the Star Wolf team, and connecting to Aquas from Sector Phi. Key tactics include destroying rocks, avoiding laser fire, and scoring enough hits. For Quest for Camelot, the guide explains how to defeat the Wood Golem and get into the Round Table Room, with strategies involving traps, clearing bushes, and stepping on stones in the correct order. A Q and a Fast Facts section provides quick tips for Star Soldier, UE, Mischief Makers, and The Lion King, Supernies, offering answers to common questions about gameplay. This page is dedicated to Sunsoft's Power Quest for the Game Boy Color, highlighting its unique dual personality that blends tournament fighting action with role-playing drama. It emphasizes the game's accessible play control and introduces the Rock'em Sock'em Robots concept, where players earn money to upgrade their robots in story mode, with the ability to switch robots at the model shop. The page details the dual personalities aspect, listing basic moves shared by all robots. It also showcases individual robots like Max, Gong, Axe, Speed, and Lon, outlining their special moves and characteristics. The reviewer notes the game's powerful fun and the combination of fighting and role-playing elements. The page also touches on the game's mech modes, including 1-player and 2-player tournaments, and a story mode. Also shows screenshots and descriptions of the game's various gameplay modes, including the story mode and the model shop. This page provides a walkthrough for Power Quest on the Game Boy Color. The Talk of the Town section gives an overview of the story mode, advising caution against the mad scientist. Points of interest are highlighted, including the home, playground, model shop, school, castle, robot factory, stadium, and mad scientist lab. The page details the Hyena Gang encounter and the spring tournament and castle event, including the robots players will face. It mentions obtaining a power pack at the model shop and Louise Boreau. There is also a section for the national championship. The available robots are Max, Gong, Axe, Speed, and Lon. It mentions the special liquid at the model shop and advises the player to visit the model shop for advice after the Hyena Gang duel. This page includes a section titled Arena, presenting challenges for readers involving different games. The challenges include finishing The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time with the minimum number of hearts, achieving a fast time in Mario Party's Slot Car Derby, and getting a high score in Frogger on Game Boy. Players can send in photos as proof for a chance to win power stamps. A quiz section is present, which is a game testing the reader's knowledge on whether certain terms are Pokemon names, Star Wars terms, or international menu items. The page also has an NP scoreboard providing high scores for various games, including Banjo-Kazooie, Game Boy Camera, San Francisco Rush, Diddy Kong Racing, and 1080-degree snowboarding. In the Where Am I section, readers are asked to identify a Seattle locale featured in San Francisco Rush 2. There are also two smaller twisted challenges from readers related to WCW and Kobe Bryant games. The next page features a quiz focusing on audio and N64 games, challenging readers to identify games based on vocal talents and music. There are questions about which games feature the vocal talents behind Homer Simpson, the songwriter of the Shaft theme, and the Juliet from the 1968 Romeo and Juliet film. It also asks about music from Blur, Fatboy Slim, and Fluke and Propellerheads. A section called Arena invites readers to submit challenges, photos, and achievements. Also included are best times for 1080-degree snowboarding. There are also reader-twisted challenges for Turok and Mission Impossible. A review is present for the game Vigilante 8 for the N64. This page presents reviews for 4 N64 games: Rampage 2, Universal Tour, Chameleon Twist 2, California Speed, and NHL Blades of Steel 99. Rampage 2 is praised for its highest graphics and funny monster animations, easy controls, fun sound, and enjoyable multiplayer. Reviewers Scott and Sanja express varied opinions, with Scott finding the one-player mode tiresome and Sanja enjoying the destruction. Chameleon Twist 2 is noted for improved graphics and appealing characters, with amazing tongue tricks and quirky sounds. Reviewers Jason and Erich comment on its candy-coated colors and frustrating camera angles. California Speed is recognized for its mix of locations, good vehicle visuals, and well-paced gameplay. Reviewers Scott, Ed, and Levi share opinions on its ease and car variety. NHL Blades of Steel 99 is commended for its realistic broadcast feel, fluid animation, and ample control. Reviewers Scott, Sanja, Henry, and Andy comment on scoring, graphics, control, and announcers. This page features reviews for 4 Game Boy Color games: Battleship, Logical, NBA in the Zone 99, and NBA Jam 99. Battleship is praised for its interface, animations, and adherence to the original board game with added twists. Reviewers and Casey, Levi, and Todd comment on its portability and fun gameplay. The review scores Battleship an overall rating of 8.3. Logical is noted for its complex graphics, color coding, and strategic gameplay. Reviewers Scott, Andy, Erich, and Sanja share opinions on its intuitive rules and unique concepts. It earns an overall rating of 7.2. NBA in the Zone 99 is commended for its graphics and use of color, but also noted for its limited sound effects. Reviewers Scott and Henry express varying opinions on gameplay. It receives an overall rating of 6.2. NBA Jam 99 is recognized for its clean and colorful graphics. Though the Game Boy Pocket version seems washed out, it is considered a taste of the original, but the Alsua is criticized, and the graphics are a little lame, according to one reviewer. It also gets an overall rating of 6.2. The next page reviews the Game Boy Color version of 720 Degrees, giving it an overall rating of 6.2. The review highlights the game's graphics, game design, satisfaction, play control, and sound. It mentions that while the color palettes of the Game Boy Color make it easier to distinguish stunt ramps, the small size of the skateboarder makes it difficult to see their direction. It is also mentioned that the controls can be frustrating, especially for those used to the N64 controller. The page also includes a list of evaluators and their preferred game categories. Andy prefers action, adventures, and puzzles. Armin likes fighting, RPGs, and adventures. Dan enjoys action, adventures, and sports. Ed goes for sports, puzzles, and action.
Henry likes fighting, action, and sports. Jason has a preference for adventures, action, and puzzles. Levi enjoys action, adventure, and RPGs. Scott goes for sports, simulations, and adventures. Sanja likes puzzles, RPGs, and fighting. And Todd has a preference for sports, action, and adventures. Towards the right of the page is an advertisement for Men in Black, the series for Game Boy Color, featuring aliens recommending the game with a promotional offer and video release date.
This page features a preview of upcoming games for the Nintendo 64. It highlights Activision Bugged, Disney's Flick is coming to the N64, A Bug's Life, and Quake 2 rocks the N64 with screenshots and descriptions of their gameplay and features. Other games mentioned in the This Month section include Gauntlet, Legends, Pokemon Snap, Shadowgate, Trials of the Four Towers, and World Driver Championship, with images of the games. This page showcases Pack Play, a preview section of upcoming games. Drivers Wanted for World Driver Championship highlights the racing game's graphics, handling, and career-oriented gameplay, with screenshots of in-game action. Midway throws down the Gauntlet. Previews Gauntlet for the N64, mentioning extra worlds and multiplayer features. Out of the Shadows gives an update on Shadowgate, Trials of the Four Towers, noting improvements to graphics and puzzles. Finally, Tennis explodes on the N64 previews All-Star Tennis 99,
listing tennis stars Michael Chang, Richard Krajicek, Mark Philippoussis, Randy Powell, Jonas Bjorkman, Gustavo Kuerten, Leon Rodez, Yana Novotná, Conchita Martinez, Amanda Coetzer, Vanessa Child, and Zoe Taylor, and its features like bomb tennis.
This page, titled Pack Peaks, previews several upcoming games.
Pokemon Snap for N64 allows players to photograph Pokemon in a 3D environment. Spies Like Kenko features the classic Spy vs. Spy cartoon series as a Game Boy Color title. Harvest Moon 64 for N64, a farming simulation, is being translated for North America. Smash Bros. for N64 is introduced as a fighting game with Nintendo characters. WWF Attitude is discussed with comparison shots of wrestler models. News Blitz mentions that Blitz 2000 is in development. The Coming Soon section notes Mortal Kombat Special Forces coming to the N64 and Asteroids being developed for Game Boy Color. BA64 is also mentioned. The page includes a release forecast for Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color games, listing titles like A Bug's Life, All-Star Baseball 2000, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, Pokemon Pinball, Spy vs. Spy, and others with their expected release dates. Screenshots from games like NBA in the Zone 99, Vrally, All-Star Baseball 2000, Goemon 2, Asteroids, and Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball are present. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. This page features the Pokemon trading card game and Penny Racers for the Nintendo 64. It explains the basics of playing the Pokemon TCG, including card layouts, energy types, and trainer cards. A reviewer mentions that Penny Racers is easily one of the best N64 racers to date, and notes the game's features like track editor, upgrades, and 4-player split-screen racing.